Len Street Gene. Len Street Gene dies at 83. The New England Patriots are mourning the loss of an original franchise standout, dating back to their days in the American Football League. Len Street Gene, an 10-year veteran offensive lineman, has died at 83 years old, according to a Tuesday morning team press release. St. Jean, who played his entire career from 1964 to 1973 with the Patriots, earned an AFL All-Star selection in 1966. He was also named to the Boston Patriots All-1960s team. The New England Patriots are deeply saddened to learn of the passing of former guard Len Street Gene, the Patriots revealed via social media. "We send our condolences to his family and all who knew him. St. John originally joined the AFL as a 9th-round pick, 68 overall, in the 1964 out of northern Michigan. The Newberry, MI native appeared in 140 games with the Patriots, ultimately playing in both the AFL and NFL. In addition to starring at right guard, he also played along the defensive line, compiling 5 sacks in his first 2 seasons. While his strength and agility served him well on the gridiron, St. Jean stood above his peers, due largely in part to his relentless work ethic. In fact, he often credited being raised on a farm by his father Emil with instilling a sense of perseverance in him. After taking over the starting right guard position in 1966, St. Jean participated in every practice, every preseason game, and every regular season game over the next 8 years. "I had good quickness and good speed and good upper body strength, but the work ethic was probably my biggest asset," said St. Jean via a 2006 interview with Patriots.com. "I was kind of a weirdo. Believe it or not, I loved practice. I loved training camp." Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington has always stood as a pillar of strength, grace, and uncompromising truth. In every role he's taken, from Glory to Training Day, from Fences to Malcolm X, he hasn't just acted. He's spoken to the soul. His performances are etched into the fabric of cinema, but beyond the screen, Denzel has carried himself with a quiet dignity that has inspired generations. Now, in a heartbreaking turn, those closest to him have shared that his health is very poor, and the risk to his well-being is growing. It's difficult to imagine a world where Denzel Washington, with that commanding presence and unmistakable voice, is silenced by something as unforgiving as illness. For decades, he has stood tall, an image of resilience, faith, and purpose. But now, behind the curtain, he faces the kind of battle no script could prepare him for. His strength, while still profound, is being tested in ways only those closest to him can truly see. There's a stillness now in his days, a slowing of pace, as his body demands more care and more rest. Yet even in this vulnerable chapter, Denzel continues to lead with humility. He speaks gently, he reflects often, and he clings tightly to his family, his faith, and the values that have always defined him. As his health falters, we wrap him in the love he has so freely given through his work and his example. We hold him close in our thoughts, praying that he feels the collective gratitude and respect of millions who have been moved by his presence. Thank you, Denzel Washington, for the power, the wisdom, and the truth. You've given the world so much. And now, we stand with you, with love, hope, and unwavering support. Freddie Aguilar. Freddie Aguilar died at 72. Original Filipino music icon Freddie Aguilar has passed away at the age of 72. George Briones, General Counsel of Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, where Aguilar had served as National Executive Vice President, confirmed the death yesterday. Days earlier, Aguilar's wife Jovi posted on Facebook how she was touched by people who had shown concern while she and her husband were at the Philippine Heart Center. "A lot has happened this week, so many crying moments, but we cannot be weak. I need to be strong so that I could take care of him," she said. "Sorry, I couldn't give detailed info because pangpamilya at malalapit na kaibigan lang muna to. But what I can assure you is that he's in good hands, and he's getting all the medication he needs. I know that you are all worried. I understand the curiosity about what happened, but all I can share for now is what Freddie wants to share. Let's just pray. Everything will be okay," she added. Aguilar is best remembered for his international hit Anak, which has sold over 33 million copies and has been interpreted in 51 languages. He was born on February 5, 1953 in Santo Tomas, Isabela, and started writing his own songs at the age of 14. Aguilar made a rendition of Bayan Ko, originally composed by Constancio de Guzman, which became an anthem of resistance during the People Power Revolution in 1986. His other hits include Magdalena, Ipaglaban Ko, and Bulag Pipi at Bingi, to name a few. In 2018, former President Rodrigo Duterte named him Presidential Advisor on Culture and the Arts and a member of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Duterte also endorsed him as a senatorial bet in the 2019 elections, but Aguilar didn't make it. Jung Woo Choi. Jung Woo Choi dies at 68. According to his agency Bless Entertainment, the deceased suddenly passed away that morning. The exact cause of death has not been confirmed, but it is reported that he suffered from chronic illness. Born in 1957, the deceased made his debut in 1975 with the play The Life of an Actor. In 1980, he also worked as a voice actor for Tongyang Broadcasting. He later moved between drama and film, primarily taking on weighty management roles such as Chief of Staff and Police Officer. South Korean actor Choi Jung-woo has died at age 68, according to his talent agency, Bless Entertainment. The agency confirmed his passing on Tuesday the 27th of May, though they have not revealed what caused his death. A funeral altar has been prepared at Gimpo Wori Hospital, and reportedly, the late actor will be laid to rest at Suwon Yeonhwa Park. Choi Jung-woo built a distinguished career spanning nearly 5 decades after making his theatrical debut in 1975. He gained recognition for his television work, appearing in numerous popular dramas including City Hunter, Alone in Love, Yisan, Brilliant Legacy, and The Legend of the Blue Sea. His theatrical achievements were particularly notable, earning him the Grand Prize at the Seoul Theatre Festival in 1990 and the Best Actor Award at the 36th Donghae Theatre Awards for his performance in the play Today. The veteran actor leaves behind a legacy of diverse performances across both stage and screen, having contributed to Korean entertainment for nearly half a century. Presley Chweneyagae. Presley Chweneyagae dies at 40. Presley Chweneyagae, the South African actor who earned international acclaim for his role in the Oscar-winning film Tsotsi, the first South African movie to win an Oscar, has died. He was 40. Chweneyagae's longtime agency, MLA, confirmed his death on Wednesday. No cause of death was disclosed. Presley was a long-time and cherished member of the MLA family. More than a client, he was a friend, a mentor to many, a beacon of creativity and perseverance. CEO Nina Morris Lee said in a statement to Entertainment Weekly, his passion for empowering the next generation of artists will remain an integral part of his legacy. Amid an outpouring of love for the late actor, the South African government paid tribute to him on its official X account. Rest in peace, Presley Chweneyagae, the post began. The nation mourns the loss of a gifted storyteller whose talent lit up our screens and hearts. Your legacy will live on through the powerful stories you told. Born on October 19, 1984, in Mahikeng, South Africa, Chweneyagae had a career in television, film, and theater that spanned 3 decades. After starting in community theater, the young actor was launched into international stardom at just 21, after he landed his breakthrough role in Gavin Hood's 2005 crime drama, Tsotsi. The movie stars Chweneyagae as the eponymous criminal, who lives by a code of violence and prowls the streets with his gang until he steals a car and discovers a baby in the back seat. As he begins caring for the infant, the hardened malefactor regains his humanity. An adaptation of Athol Fugard's 1961 novel of the same name, the film was widely acclaimed, earning a Golden Globe nomination and the 2006 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey returns to direct his first feature film in 20 years. Oscar-winning actor Kevin Spacey has directed his first feature film in more than 2 decades. Spacey has helmed the supernatural action thriller in which he features alongside Dolph Lundgren, Rocky IV, The Expendables, Tyrese Gibson, The Fast and Furious franchise, Morbius, Brianna Hildebrand, Deadpool, Lucifer, Disha Patani, Kalki 2898 AD, Bharat, and Eric Roberts' Runaway Train, The Righteous Gemstones. The indie film, which has the working title of Hologuards, is planned to be the first in a franchise known as Statigards vs. Hologuards, and also stars Harry Goodwins, Swen Temel, and Sonia Pim Cooling, Variety reported. It also marks the first feature to be produced by Elegy Media, owned by Portugal-based Ukrainian entrepreneur Elvira Gavrilova Patterson. Hologuards is set against the backdrop of a near-future world fractured by hidden supernatural forces, where two ancient warrior factions, the Hologuards and the Statigards, wage a secret war for control of humanity's fate. Amid this conflict, a young woman discovers that she's the daughter of two rival leaders and could end the conflict. The film was shot in Mexico last year and is now in post-production. Rick Derringer. Rick Derringer dies at 77. Rick Derringer, the iconic American rock guitarist, singer, and songwriter, best known for the #1 hit Hang On Sloopy and the wrestling anthem Real American, has died at the age of 77 in Ormond Beach, Florida. The news was confirmed by his caretaker Tony Wilson and Guitar Player magazine. A cause of death was not revealed, but Derringer had been in poor health in recent months. Born Richard Dean Zeringer in Ohio, Derringer rose to fame in 1965 with the McCoys' chart-topping single Hang On Sloopy. He later found solo success with Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, a classic that re-entered pop culture through Stranger Things. He also produced Edgar Winter's Frankenstein, which hit #1 on Billboard in 1973. Derringer was a session guitarist for major acts like Steely Dan, Kiss, Barbra Streisand, and Bonnie Tyler. His powerful guitar solos featured on Total Eclipse of the Heart and Air Supply's Making Love Out of Nothing at All. In the mid-1980s, Derringer became a key figure in pro wrestling music, co-writing and producing Real American for Hulk Hogan. The track became a political anthem, used by Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump. Derringer toured with Ringo Starr's all-star band, collaborated with Cyndi Lauper, and later embraced Christian music alongside his wife Jenda. His lasting influence on rock, wrestling, and American pop culture remains unmatched. Ronnie Duggar. Ronnie Duggar dies at 95. Ronnie Duggar, the founding editor of the Texas Observer, once referred to as the quote, "GOAT for progressive journalism in Texas," died Tuesday in Austin. He was 95. His death was related to Alzheimer's disease complications, said his daughter, New York Times health and science editor Celia W. Duggar. Duggar launched The Observer in 1954, when he was just 24 and a recent graduate of the University of Texas at Austin. He wanted to create not just a newspaper, but something to serve the rolling, ongoing community of liberal and left, radical, some centrist and conservative, decent people, still moored in this still oligarchical political hellhole, beautiful Texas, he wrote in The Observer in 2014, recalling the time when the publication was created. He wrote The Observer's mission statement, which is still displayed on its website today. "We will serve no group or party, but will hew hard to the truth as we find it, and the right as we see it." Gus Bova, The Observer's editor-in-chief, described Duggar as a, quote, "trailblazing journalist in Texas." He insisted on covering stories that, in the 1950s, the major daily papers wouldn't touch. He drove around Texas in this broken-down little old car, finding stories of KKK violence in East Texas or issues faced by Mexican Americans in San Antonio or the border, Bova said. Now we see journalism like that, but then it was really something different that he started. The Austin-based Observer has been awarded multiple national awards in its 71-year history. The New York Times Book Review once called it that outpost of reason in the Southwest. In 2023, the publication almost shut down because of funding issues, but then it crowdsourced more than $300,000 and continued its operations. Charles Rangel. Charles Rangel dies at 94. The longtime congressman from New York, Charles Rangel, passed away at the age of 94. According to CBS News, the first black chair of House Ways and Means and the last surviving member of the Gang of Four, died on Monday at a hospital in New York. The Rangel family confirmed his death in a statement and said, "A towering figure in American politics and a champion for justice, equity, and opportunity, Congressman Rangel dedicated over 4 decades of his life to public service." Throughout his career, Congressman Rangel fought tirelessly for affordable housing, urban revitalization, fair tax policies, and equal opportunities for all Americans, it added. He has left behind his son, Stephen Rangel, daughter Alicia Rangel Houghton, 3 grandsons, Howard R. Houghton, Joshua R. Houghton, and Charles R. Houghton. The governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, announced that the state flags will be flown at half-staff Monday and Tuesday to honor Charles Rangel, adding that the flags will also be lowered on the day of his funeral. Hochul stated, "Charlie was a powerful voice in government and politics, and we remember him today for not only leading his life as a public servant of this great state, but also for his dedicated service to our military in the Korean War. A fierce advocate for equal opportunity and a voice for Harlem, Representative Rangel's legacy shows us what we can accomplish as determined legislators. My thoughts are with all who loved him," she added. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer described him as a, quote, "great man, a great friend, who never stopped fighting for his constituents in Harlem." Born in Harlem in 1930, Rangel, who was affectionately called Co Hodeman. Co Hodeman dies at 84. Co Hodeman, the Canadian animator and director best known for winning an Oscar for Best Animated Short in 1977, has died. He was 84. Hodeman died Monday in Montreal. The National Film Board of Canada, for whom he directed 27 films during his career, said no cause of death was specified. Company Hodeman was a master animator whose long career at the NFB was distinguished by innovative filmmaking and powerful humanitarian themes. Suzanne Gevermont, Government Film Commissioner and NFB chairperson, said in a statement, "He cared deeply for the well-being of children and was also a fierce defender of the importance of public filmmaking. The NFB and the Canadian animation community have lost a dear friend and colleague. Fortunately for us, we have his legacy of beloved works, which embody so much of his unique spirit." A master of stop-motion animation, Hodeman earned his Academy Award statuette for Le Château de Sable, The Sandcastle, a 13-minute puppet animation short for the NFB. The film features a sandman and the creatures he sculpted out of sand. The creations then build a castle and cheer the completion of their new home, only to be interrupted by an uninvited guest. Born in Amsterdam on August 1, 1940, Hodeman as a child enjoyed using his hands to make puppets, kites, and other figures. In his 2021 biography, Frame by Frame, An Animator's Journey, he wrote, "At a time when there was no television and little access to any kind of entertainment, puppet shows were the most brilliant experience imaginable. Puppet theater and puppet animation have a lot in common. The animator and his team, just like the puppet master in a puppet show, are in control of everything." Christophe Clement. Christophe Clement died at 59. The world of horse racing lost one of the sport's most prominent North American trainers as Christophe Clement, 59, has passed away. It was announced on Sunday. Clement, who earned over 2,500 victories, most notably won the 2014 Belmont Stakes with Tonalist. The son of Tappet, who made a sweeping 3-wide move late in the lane, ended California Chrome's bid for a Triple Crown at odds of 9-1. The Christophe Clement Racing Stable posthumously shared a letter penned by Clement via their official account on X after he lost his battle with cancer. "Unfortunately, if you are reading this, it means I was unable to beat my cancer. As many of you know, I have been fighting an incurable disease, metastatic uveal melanoma. As I reflect on my journey, I realize I never worked a day in my life. Every morning, I woke up and did what I loved most, surrounded by so much love. This journey started with my wife, Valerie, and 6 horses. Being a racehorse trainer is far more than a profession. Horses have brought me fulfillment, friends, and such wonderful memories. My biggest accomplishment is my loving family. I met my extraordinary wife when we were 18 years in France, and we then moved across the world and raised 2 incredible children, Miguel and Charlotte. Throughout the journey, we added 2 more fantastic kids, Sean and Acacia. I was also blessed to meet my first grandchild, Hugo. Thank you to my daughter, who devoted all her time to finding a cure. I love them all unconditionally and am so proud. I hope you all find one day as much love as I've been lucky enough to be given by you all. Please continue to look out for my family. It always was and always will be a family affair." Stan Atkinson. Stan Atkinson dies at 92. Longtime Sacramento news anchor Stan Atkinson died on Sunday at the age of 92. Channel 3, KCRA, and Channel 13 reported Monday morning. For nearly 3 decades, Atkinson was a mainstay of Sacramento broadcast news, earning legend status for his boots-on-the-ground reporting on wars across the globe and his charitable work raising millions of dollars for organizations in the region. He spent 24 years at KCRA before moving to KOVR in 1994. The Sacramento Bee's Bob Silva called Atkinson the man who owns Sacramento in a 1986 profile. Viewers see KCRA as their station and Stan Atkinson as their newscaster, Silva's story read. Until some other local anchor can peer down the barrel of a camera and emote and ad-lib as artfully as Atkinson, that affiliation is unlikely to change. Walt Gray, an anchor on Channel 10, KXTV, considered Atkinson a mentor when they worked the same shift at KCRA. When I got to town, in 1988, I had heard of him, but I'd never seen anything like that before. A guy who was so dominant in his field, yet doing as much charitable work as possible with an already busy schedule, Gray said. That's leading by example. Atkinson had charity events and benefits scheduled nearly every evening, Silva wrote. He adamantly supported the work of the Sisters of Mercy in the Sacramento region, according to Gray. Steve Swat, a former KCRA politics reporter, said he remembered Atkinson's insatiable need to find news in every corner of the globe. He simply had to be where news was happening, whether it was Cambodia, Afghanistan, Cuba, Guatemala, or many other world hotspots, Swat wrote in response to a request for people to share their recollections of Atkinson. Ed Gale. Ed Gale dies at 61. Ed Gale, who made his film debut wearing the Howard the Duck suit and went on to play Chucky in Child's Play and 2 other films in the series, died Tuesday in Los Angeles. He was 61. His niece, KZ Gale, wrote on Facebook, "It is with a heavy heart and a surprisingly light coffin," see what I did there? "that we announce the sudden passing of our uncle, Ed Gale. Ed Gale has taken his final bow and is now headlining in the afterlife." Ed hitched a ride to California when he was 20 years old with $41 and a dream, and he never looked back. He lit up the silver screens in cult classic films like Howard the Duck and Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, earning himself some serious street cred at every con he attended, which he never stopped bragging about. Ever. Over the course of his career, he appeared in over 130 movies, TV shows, and commercials. With this wide-ranging body of work, he leaves behind legacy full of questionable lighting and amazing one-liners. Ed's favorite role was that of the, quote, fun uncle. His love language was sharing his love of the entertainment industry and the magic of Hollywood with his nieces. Ed loved 7-Eleven hot dogs with disgusting amounts of ketchup. He enjoyed reminiscing about his glory days DJing at the Plainwell roller rink. He hated Bill Maher for no good reason. He delighted in the slow buildup of telling a good story and cheating at cribbage. He had one hell of a laugh, and he will be missed. Rest and love, you cranky bastard, she concluded. Gale went on to wear the devilish doll suit in Child's Play 2 and Bride of Chucky, costumed as the possessed doll with the soul of a serial killer. In the TV series Land of the Lost, Gale played the dinosaur Tasha. Phil Robertson. Phil Robertson dies at 79. Phil Robertson, the patriarch of TV's Duck Dynasty reality show, has died. He was 79. In December, Robertson's family said on the quote, "The Robertson family," that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. His daughter-in-law, Corrie Robertson, posted the news to Facebook Sunday, writing, "We celebrate today that our father, husband, and grandfather Phil Robertson is now with the Lord." He reminded us often of the words of Paul, "You do not grieve like those who have no hope." For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. Thank you for the love and prayers of so many whose lives have been impacted by his life saved by grace, his bold faith, and by his desire to tell everyone who would listen the good news of Jesus. We are grateful for his life on earth, and will continue the legacy of love for God and love for others until we see him again. We know so many of you love him and have been impacted by his life. We're having a private service for now, but we'll share details soon about a public celebration of his life. Robertson worked as a teacher and commercial fisherman before inventing the Duck Commander call, which turned into a multi-million-dollar business now headed by his son Willie Robertson. Duck Dynasty aired on A&E from 2012 to 2017. By 2013, it became the most-watched non-fiction cable series in history. Presented in a sitcom-style format, it revolved around the Duck Commander business run by brothers Phil and Cy, the bearded elders of the clan, and Phil's sons Jace, Willie, and Jep, as well as their co-workers and children. Clint Eastwood has long been the embodiment of quiet strength, a man whose presence alone could fill a room, whose voice carried the weight of experience, grit, and truth. From the dusty trails of the good, the bad, and the ugly, to the raw vulnerability of Gran Torino, he gave us characters who stood tall even when the world tried to break them. But now, far from the cameras and the director's chair, a far more personal and painful reality is unfolding. Clint Eastwood's health is very poor, and those close to him fear the risk of decline is growing. He's always been more than just an actor. Clint became a symbol of stoicism, resilience, and moral clarity in an often uncertain world. Whether he was behind the lens or in front of it, he never demanded attention. He commanded it. But now, at this fragile stage in life, even legends must face the toll time takes. His steps are slower, his voice softer, and his once unshakable energy now flickers with weariness. Still, there is something unbreakable in him. Even as his body weakens, Clint Eastwood carries himself with the same quiet dignity that made him a cinematic icon. He reflects more now on a life lived fully, a career carved out of risk and principle, and a legacy that stretches far beyond the silver screen. To those who grew up with his films, who found courage in his characters and truth in his storytelling, this moment is painful. But it is also sacred. We send him love, not just for what he gave us on screen, but for the spirit he shared off it. Thank you, Clint Eastwood, for the silence that spoke volumes, for the grit that inspired generations, and for the life that will echo long after the final frame fades.